What if someone you least expect, someone the world assumes is just a shadow in the background, suddenly stepped forward with an act of bravery that left everyone speechless? Barron Trump, the youngest member of a family constantly in the spotlight, did just that. And what happened next sent shockwaves across the crowd. Stay with me, because you won't believe what unfolded. Barron Trump has always been a figure of quiet intrigue. As the youngest member of a family that has spent years under the glaring lens of public scrutiny, he's a mystery, a stark contrast to the boisterous personalities around him. While the world dissected his father's every move or speculated about his siblings, Barron remained on the periphery, rarely seen and even more rarely heard. At 17, Barron had built an image of someone content in the background, navigating his unusual life with stoicism. This quiet presence was why his attendance at the charity event initially seemed routine, almost unremarkable. The event itself was a typical high-profile gathering, a blend of A-list celebrities, influential politicians, and media personalities. It was a day meant to celebrate philanthropy, a safe haven from the chaos that often accompanies such high-profile gatherings. Or so everyone thought. The event began like any other. A stage adorned with vibrant banners, a packed audience buzzing with energy, and speeches meant to tug at heartstrings. The program included heartfelt testimonials from beneficiaries, musical performances, and a keynote address from a prominent political figure. Amid the sea of suited guests and elegantly dressed attendees, Barron was there, blending in as much as someone of his stature could. He stood tall at the back of the room, quietly observing, a polite smile occasionally gracing his face when someone greeted him. Most people didn't pay him much attention, assuming he was just another attendee fulfilling an obligation. But Barron wasn't merely present, he was watching. As the speeches continued, a subtle tension began to ripple through the crowd. Whispers turned into murmurs, and heads turned toward the entrance. Outside, beyond the heavy security detail, a protest had begun. At first, it seemed small and contained, an expression of frustration about an unrelated political issue. But the energy shifted quickly. The chants grew louder, more aggressive. Security personnel moved to reinforce the barriers, their earpieces crackling with updates. Inside, the speeches carried on, but the uneasy atmosphere was impossible to ignore. Barron's gaze lingered on the entrance, his expression unreadable. Then it happened. A commotion at the back of the room drew everyone's attention. A protester, somehow slipping past security, burst into the venue. They moved with purpose, weaving through the crowd, a hand clutching a sign as they headed straight for the stage. Gasps echoed as attendees scrambled to get out of the way. For a moment, time seemed to freeze. The protester was feet away from the podium, their shouts drowning out the speaker. Security surged forward, but the individual was moving too quickly. It was chaos, until Barron Trump stepped into the frame. There was no hesitation. As the protester barreled forward, Barron's calm yet commanding presence cut through the frenzy like a blade. He moved swiftly, stepping out from the crowd and positioning himself directly in the protester's path. At 6 feet 7 inches, Barron's sheer physicality was enough to make people pause. But it wasn't just his height that captured attention. It was his demeanor. He didn't charge or shout. Instead, he raised a hand, signaling for the protester to stop. "Wait," Barron said, his voice steady but firm. The protester faltered, their momentum halting as they faced this unexpected obstacle. Barron's expression was calm, almost empathetic, as he locked eyes with them. "You're here because you want to be heard," he continued, his tone measured. "But this isn't the way to do it. Let's talk." The room was silent. Hundreds of pairs of eyes were fixed on this unprecedented exchange, disbelief etched on their faces. Barron Trump, the teenager known for his silence, was now standing at the center of a storm, diffusing it with words instead of force. The protester hesitated, their grip on the sign loosening. For a moment, it seemed like they might lash out, but Barron didn't waver. He took a step closer, his posture open yet unyielding. "I understand you're angry," he said, "but think about this. The message gets lost when it's delivered with chaos. Let's find another way." Witnesses described the moment as surreal. The protester, who had stormed in with such intensity, seemed to deflate in the face of Barron's calm resolve. Security closed in, ready to act, but Barron raised a hand to hold them back. The crowd held its breath as the protester finally lowered their sign. They looked at Barron, their expression shifting from anger to something softer, perhaps confusion, perhaps understanding. With a nod, they allowed themselves to be escorted out, the tension in the room dissipating as quickly as it had erupted. The room erupted into applause, a mix of relief and awe. Barron stood there for a moment, watching as the protester was led away. Then, with the same quiet composure he had displayed all his life, he returned to his place at the back of the room, as if nothing had happened. But something had happened. In that moment, Barron Trump had shown the world a side of him no one expected. A leader, a mediator, someone willing to step up when it mattered most. What Barron Trump did that day wasn't just an act of bravery. It was a lesson in courage and compassion. In a world where confrontation often breeds more conflict, his ability to diffuse a volatile situation with calm and understanding was nothing short of remarkable. Now, the question is, what would you have done in his shoes? Would you have had the courage to step forward, or the composure to handle it with such grace? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's discuss what true bravery looks like in today's world. And if this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because sometimes it's the quietest voices that teach us the loudest lessons.